I'm glad the Cassie part is taken out because I feel like people aren't really seeing the seriousness of it.
And the government tried to paint this picture that she was consenting in these situations. You know, Cassie could have consented to 5 freak offs. On the 6th one, if she said no, he needed to respect her boundary that she created. No means no means no. Okay.
Right.
This case is the poster child of DV situations, how victims behave when they're in an abusive situation. And they tried, like today, they tried to highlight the fact that Mia, she was saying she was so scared of Diddy, but yet she was posting all these good posts. But at the end of the day, that's her boss. That was her job. And the prosecution yesterday broke that all down, like what her job duties were. And the number one thing was social media.
Right.
Social media. She had to run his social media. She was responsible for protecting his reputation, business and personal. Okay. And let me tell you, Mia was so timid on that stand. Her voice was very shaky. And she testified the whole time like this, with her hair in her
With her
face.
hair down. Wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was live action from yesterday. Okay.
Ooh.
And Diddy, it's a buildup with him. Okay. He started out with the physical assaults, right?
Mhm.
And instilled that fear in her, you know what I mean, so that she wouldn't want to go anywhere. But this man, he consumes and takes over people's lives. The woman
Right.
couldn't even go to the bathroom without his permission. And whenever she did, she was she called it, she was like, I didn't want to get in trouble. I, he would punish me. Like, she
Mm.
went to the bathroom, and because she didn't have his permission, he threw a bowl of spaghetti on top of her head.
Yeah.
And she was on her menstrual and needed to change.
And
And
he wouldn't let her, right?
you ain't have my permission. What are you doing? You're mine. He's
Yeah, that's crazy. And you know what else too? He don't pay them anything. When you realize how much they were getting paid, 50,000 at the most, I'm not doing none of that for 50,000. But speaking of 50, shout out to the critics and happy anniversary. Thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate that. But yeah, paying them on the low and all, like what?
and
Like
so
how? So, oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
sorry. I mean, it just speaks to the environment that he fostered. It was all about him. And they were hired to cater to him 24/7. Mia said when she first started working AT2, the first 5 days she did not sleep. And it got
Mm.
to the point that she basically had a nervous breakdown because she was getting visions. She started crying uncontrollably. And then at that point, finally, Diddy's like, okay, go get some rest. But then she's like, she'll only get a few hours and he's calling her again.
Calling her again, yeah.
And then ultimately, he moved her over into being Cassie's handler. That's what came out. Like, if this man could not get in touch with Cassie, he would blow up everyone's phone, email. He was relentless. Okay. So it
Mhm.
displayed the type of control, the force, like, and they were packing for London, Mia said. Her, Cassie, and the stylist. And because Cassie didn't answer the phone, he came to the door irate, banging on the door, ultimately manipulated security into giving the key. And not only did he attack Cassie, he attacked Mia and the stylist as well. So
No, I haven't kept up with today, but do you think that she was the woman listed in Don Richard's lawsuit where she said that he had an assistant and they were over in London and she was all like, "Where's the assistant at?" And he said like "F that B" or something like that. Do you think that she was the assistant
I
that
think
they
it's
left in
possible.
London?
Anything's possible. 82, Diddy went through assistance like you change your drawers, okay? And
Mm.
he will have 5 on hands at any given time. But working under these conditions, naturally, so people quit. Like, I'm not going to allow you to degrade me and things like that. But Mia took the brunt. Like, if the other assistants failed, he took it out on Mia. But I think it's definitely possible because she traveled quite a bit with Cassie and
Mm-hmm.
Diddy. And it was always this scenario of keep an eye on Cassie. I'm at the house with the kids. Keep an
Wow.
eye on Cassie. He's going out with another girlfriend. You know, he could do whatever he wants, but Cassie had to be available whenever he wanted to do his thing. And even Deontay, I loved his testimony. Not only was he funny and quirky, but they showed text messages between him and Cassie, and the defense tried to paint this picture like Cassie was enjoying time with the diddler. But what came
Yeah.
out is Cassie said, "Yeah, he's pretty mad at me, but you know, as long as I give him what he wants, that's the only way I'll have peace."
Yeah,
And
that's wild. By the way, shout out to Kay. Thank you for the cash up. I appreciate that. Also, shout out to everybody coming in the room. Please hit that like button. I appreciate y'all coming in the room. We're at 200 so far, so yes, please hit that like button. Also, Knotty, I wanted to talk about so on the outside, is it really as much as a circus as it looks, or are people just looking for a moment at court?
no, it's definitely the action. That's where it's at outside. Okay, my first day, someone drove by and was screaming, "Diddy's a rapist." Everybody knows it. Everybody knows it.
Wow.
The energy outside, but he has a lot of supporters still, right?
Yeah,
So
but I heard they're paid though, right?
some of them are the ones that wear the t-shirts. Yes, they're getting paid $20 an hour or something like that. You know, 50 Cent got his $20.
Yo.
Okay. But yeah, no, he still has a lot of support, as we saw in the R. Kelly case, right? But I feel like it's a lot of people projecting their own
Mm,
traumas onto the situation. Like one gentleman,
really?
he was out there screaming, Diddy didn't traffic anyone. Everybody was consensual. They charged me with the same things. And and we're out there
What?
trying to explain to him, you know, the definition of trafficking, but Gene Dill got with him. So I was going in the courthouse. Gene Dill
Mm-hmm.
was in front of me, and this young man was in back of me, still screaming the same ignorant stuff. And Gene Dill said, "Let me tell you something, brother. With
Oh
trafficking, you do not have to
wow.
prove force." And he broke down the definition.
So
It is,
Gene Deal had to check him.
yeah, he checked them for sure,
Yeah.
just like he did that other troll.
Wow. So before we touch on that, I want to say shout out to Melissa. All the Melissas, they terrorized the shit out of me. But thank you for being here, Melissa. You sent me $5 so you can keep terrorizing me. And trust me, I'll get you back later. But
Pay
thank you
like
for the
Yahweh, pay
$5. I
like
appreciate
Yahweh.
that. So okay, so you weren't there that day when that all of a sudden went down. So I guess
I
the
was
stunt
I
queen.
was there that day, but I
Oh,
left.
you
Right.
were.
Yeah. I was
Yeah. So did you
I
have to
didn't see
see him
the
or no?
huh?
Did you see him or no?
Oh, both days. Both days. Oh,
Mm.
he's active. He's
Oh,
totally
okay.
active. And you know, I didn't feel the need to really engage because I don't know what
I'm
your
proud of you.
intention. I don't know what your intentions are. Like, it is what it is. I'm here to get information for my audience and things like that. But some people just have to put themselves in their in the way to
Make
get
it about them.
uh,
Thank you, Illis.
Tisa tells she's beautiful in person. I met her. I also met Girl That's Legal, Simone Redwine.
Mhm.
All very pleasant people. So I interacted with the people, you know, that I watch, number one, and
Right.
and it's a lot of YouTubers out there, and a lot of them were very, very nice and
Yeah.
engaging, and we were kind of like going back and forth and debating. It's
This
live.
situation, yeah, this situation made me like Tisa because one thing about Tisa, I noticed she wasn't all like, "Oh, I'm too good for you." Like she was taking
No.
pictures and people videos. She even made a joke to Ratchet TV because I guess he said something about her, and she made like a little joke to him or whatever. So it was like everybody was like cool. There's literally like, of course there's the weirdos and stuff like that, but it's like only one person that's kind of like, But it seemed like everybody we kind of know and interact with, like they've all been cool.
Right. And that's exactly, and I interacted with the ones that were welcoming to me. I got looks and stares, and it's just like, it's me. But I guess, but I didn't want him to feel like, oh, she kind of trying to get some clout. No, I'm not that thirsty. I'm not I'm not that thirsty. And it just so happened this is like the trial of the decade, right? I'm right here. So I had the days off from work. So I'm like, let me go get my footage. But there's some great debates going on outside of that courthouse. And I'm glad everyone's respecting each other's boundaries and respecting each other's opinions. But you do have your colorful characters out. It's the city. It's the city. Like you could go in Times Square and still get the same action. Okay. So
yeah.
But
it's New York at the end of the day. So, it's going to be crazy either way. So do you plan on going back out there?
Yeah, I really plan on going back. I think I'm gonna go like when it's closer to the verdict.
Okay,
to temperature check and figure, because I really want to be there the day of the verdict. Guys, I really think the prosecution is doing a good job building up the case. And people have to remember, this is only the beginning. They're going until July 4th. Okay. And people need to keep in mind what the definition of what ST is. Okay. It is transporting a person across state lines for the purposes of sexual encounters. And that's what he did with Cassie, holding her up in hotel rooms. And the DV is to just show how he forced her into this, how he beat her into submission. That's why it keeps coming up. All right. And then you include the prostitutes that he's hiring, which is illegal.
Paying for,
and they're traveling as well. That's what you call African. Okay. So people need to be clear. All right. They're proving the RICO with the money exchanges. This the fact that he extorted Cassie's mom and her dad, threatening to put out tapes. All right. And that's what Deontay's testimony was good for. He corroborated that conversation of Diddy threatening to put out tapes. He did this on a regular basis to punish her. And even when Mia was testifying, I'm like he acted like they daddy.
Yeah. Someone asked, do you think do you think Diddy is guilty? But before you say yes, because I know it's a yes, thank you, Addicted. I appreciate that. She said, do you know what today is? It's our anniversary. Hey, anniversary. Thank you, Addicted. I appreciate that. But yeah, do you think that he's guilty?
In my heart of hearts, Diddy did it.
Diddy did it, yes. And don't forget about the drugs too. You're right, Aaron. Thank you. And now, why isn't I'm surprised there's a lot of YouTubers like Aaron. I guess they scared, but I'm surprised more of the people in like New York, New Jersey, they're not there. Like it seemed like a lot of the people who are like popular, it seemed like they came from out of state.
West Coast. The West Coast is out there heavy. Okay.
Yeah, I'm very surprised.
Yeah, I get why Tisa's out there because she's been covering this from the rooter to the tutor, from the beginning to the end. And I get it. But certain YouTubers, I've never even heard them even talk about it.
Like, what you doing there?
Yes. And then you had your sideline spectators like, why isn't Darren Snyder locked up and this and that? And I'm just like, the victims have to be willing to come forward. And you have to have evidence. Cassie and Mia have evidence. They have email exchanges and things like that. But the culture,
and not like an Aubrey O'Day who claimed to be a victim, but now saying that she ain't no victim.
I'm over her. I'm convinced
something might have happened, but she got to ask somebody Listen, you had 15. How long ago was Danny Kane? Like 15, 20 years ago? You had enough time to ask if something happened to you or not.
I don't like the shade that she's throwing at Dawn Richard. And it tells us all these years she is bitter still because Diddy kept Dawn instead of her.
And try to say like Don drug Q, and then he had to issue an apology because she was like, nah, like I didn't try to drug you. Like what?
And why do this now, Aubrey? Why do this now? And it's given you're working both sides of the fence. You got a little settlement from Diddy. I feel like she working with Diddy at this point. I don't want to hear nothing else from her unless she's on a stand.
And you know who else I don't want to hear from? Jaguar Wright, Ali Carter. Stop asking if they're gonna take the damn stand. I'm getting sick and tired of y'all saying that. But before I let Knotty say what she gonna say, let's go ahead. Is Diddy guilty or not guilty? 30 seconds, y'all. Guilty. I didn't even do a head count, but a lot of guilties. I only seen a couple of not guilties. But as I was saying before I cut you off, we were talking about this whole, oh yeah, Jaguar Wright, Ali Carter. Can we now put all of that shit to rest because them hoes ain't testified one time?
Well, there was a Jag lookalike, and she came up behind me.
What?
I had to step. I was like, I had to say, if it wasn't for the hair, that's the only difference. Because I haven't seen her in a while because I don't follow scutterbugs around, okay? But yeah, because you know it's on site with me and her. Yeah, because her voice sounded like her for a second. I had to do a double take, like
what?
But then I was like, you would have smelled her. You would have smelled her dirty diaper a mile away.
You know she don't change that diaper.
Or she got a cigarette hanging out her mouth or something. You know what I mean? Like, but yeah, no, it was a Jag lookalike or whatever. But no, I absolutely think Diddy did it. And you have to remember, this is the era I came up in. I watched how he treated his artists through the years. I remember when Wendy Williams started calling him out. One thing I'm proud about this trial, they're not bringing up his sexuality because that's not what's in question. It doesn't even matter.
Right.
I'm glad they are not focusing on that.
Listen, we already know what it is. We don't need to keep discussing that part, you know.
And to each his own. I really feel like Diddy cooked his own self because he could have went to the Bunny Ranch out in Las Vegas, you know, where Lamar Odom, where it's legal and you have a bunch of willing participants to do what you want. You know what I mean?
I'm like, people are willing to do what you want. Like, you could have just told Kathy, like, hey, I'm gonna have a girl that's gonna do this and that because this is what I like. If you don't want to do it no more, that's cool. I'm gonna get me a girl that actually likes it. So I think he could have easily did that. But question, do you know who that lady was that cussed him out that said she had the Asian crime bill? You know,
she was out there. I don't know who she was, but she was out there.
I want to interview her. I want to, like, that lady was hilarious.
I think she got put out. I think she got put out. I think she got banned.
Oh,
but she wasn't there the second day I went. She wasn't there. And can I say, I know everybody have like a lot of different opinions about Gene, but he was very respectful. He was very nice. You know what I mean? And he was like, I just had to see for myself, and me too. This man has slithered his way out of so many serious crimes through the years. Like, I had to make sure that it was him in that courtroom. And Janice Combs done got her wigs together, y'all. Finally, she got her a good wig. Yes. Finally, she got
all the time.
All that money.
Mem said she had a shake and go one day or something like that. So
It's crazy. But no, I really feel like they're doing a good job proving that he did it. Whether I think Cassie deserved every bit of that money because it was a sideline spectator outside. Like, why are they going for the money now? Because he robbed them all their years. You know how many career opportunities he stopped for Cassie?
Mhm.
And then he wanted to
Right.
continue to harass. And even the text messages that came out between Deontay and Diddy brought up Alex Fine, her husband. Like, really? She's with the trainer.
Mm. And thank you, Mo. I appreciate it. He said all of these whores stayed for monetary gain and the well ran dry. Now they victims. But here's the thing: they weren't getting paid that much money, and he was controlling everything. Like, for example, Cassie wasn't getting paid from the events, the modeling, the music. She wasn't getting paid for nothing. He was covering everything. So at the end of the day, they didn't really have anywhere to go because everything was coming to him.
And
Even
me,
with the,
sorry, go ahead, AT.
even with Mia, she was only getting paid 50K. Like 50K, you in New York, Los Angeles, like that ain't no money.
And Capricorn Clark testified that she went to HR. They said he owed her 80,000 in overtime. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Mia testified like she was supposed to get bonuses and things like that. He never um follow through on any of that.
Right.
Mia also testified and said that all of Cassie's apartments, cars, everything was under the business name. And whenever Diddy would get mad at her for not doing a freak off or whatever, if she sneezed wrong, he would take something away, take an opportunity away. She testified to all of that. Like, he had control of everything. And that's why I think the prosecutor is trying to really paint this picture. And that's why it's just him up there on getting charged with the RICO, because he was the main one in charge. He made all the decisions for Cassie, for the business, for the staff, and everything. And I'm just wondering why the security guard D-Rock is not being subpoenaed or called to the stand.
Yeah, I wonder, is the security gonna be subpoenaed? We don't know. You know what I mean?
I
But
think Roger Bonds for sure, because he
yeah,
was
because as I understand, he flipped off. Well, he hasn't been working for Diddy, but he already had been talking, so I can see Roger Bonds being one of the ones that will actually talk. Yeah,
exactly. And then remember when Diddy was up for the Bell hearing and they caught him tampering with witnesses? That's why they arrested him early.
well, they
And
arrested him.
he tried to continue the same thing even after he got arrested, using other inmates' PIN numbers, writing letters and things like that. Well, Mia testified today and corroborated that D-Rock contacted her. And at first they had a little small talk, and this was like right after he settled the Cassie lawsuit. And so then D-Rock was trying to like persuade her, like, hey, Diddy wants to talk to you because you need to jog his memory because he don't know who all is around or whatever. Basically, he was on high. He don't remember. He be blacked out or whatever.
Right, he be high. He be higher than Akuta Brown, and he don't know. And they said like it depends. I think it was Mia who said her job really consisted of his moods. Like she had to basically see what kind of mood he was in. That would like tailor to where their day was. But Addicted said 70K a year, working 7 days a week, 12 hours a day. Here's the thing: Mia was saying they were working like 24 hours. They worked around the clock. Like, it was no like, okay, you clock in this time, clock in that time, and then you got to go here, there, and everywhere for them and do like, I don't know what a personal assistant job consists of, but it doesn't consist of drums, being R-worded, and it don't consist of that.
Yeah, and Mia testified to all of that. She said one time they were on a tour bus, he put all the shades up, and then he had the Keta. I'm gonna call it the Keta.
Oh, the Keta, yeah.
And he was trying to force her to take it, and she tried to fake it, and he realized she was faking it, and he like berated her and dogged her out until she actually did it. Like he's the poster boy for peer pressure. Okay,
Mhm.
um, he just wants his way. The main thing, like people think Diddy is addicted to rugs. No, he's addicted to power and control more than anything.
Mm.
That's his thing. You know what I mean? It's just really sad. I don't know why. And he knows who to prey on. He preys on
Oh
weak
yeah,
people with low
he picks the
self-esteem.
right ones.
But then again, these people be so thirsty to be next to these celebrities, like they willing to be degraded and berated and beat on for what? Like nothing is worth that much to me.
Right.
And I believe like because Mia didn't have stern, strong boundaries, that's why he felt like he could take that AT2.
Right. But I didn't learn that jobs weren't supposed to treat you like shit until COVID. That's why I can't see myself going back to a regular 9 to 5 because, again, I think beforehand we dealt with so much, but that time that we had sitting at home or whether you had to work from home or not, it showed you that one, you can do your shit from home. And then two, it also showed like these jobs is full of shit and there is no work life balance. They don't give a damn about you. You literally have to fight and be your own advocate, your own manager, your own whatever, and really take control of your life, you know.
And
And by the way, I would know if somebody was doing X, Y, and Z to me. Like I would know that. But I'm just saying in general, we deal with a lot of disrespect at work, and we don't realize like, no, that shit's not okay. I've worked at a lot of unprofessional places before, you know.
I mean, and I've been with my company for 19 years, and
Mm,
like my 10th year in, they were changing the structure. This is when people first started working from home. This is pre the panty, and
yeah.
they tried to force me to change my hours, which it wasn't conducive to my lifestyle. My daughter was young then. I had to like pick her up from daycare and stuff like that. I used my
Mm,
I used my HR, and my HR, they fought for me. And
that's
that's
good.
how I ended up working from home. But I spoke up. I had the email exchange of them trying to force me to change my hours. At the end of the day, I signed a contract for certain hours. You can't go and renege. And I think with the
Right.
industry, they don't have things like that because Mia said, like, even when she got caught at the Prince party with Cassie, she hid at a hotel. Diddy had HR call her, like, you're suspended for 2 weeks without pay. And she's like, why? Oh, you were insubordinate or whatever. But the woman couldn't even go see her friends. She couldn't even go home and spend time with her family. She had to beg to go to her grandmother's birthday party. Like, that's not work. That's
Right.
enslavement. That's enslavement all of that all day. And one thing she said, HR was not there for our well-being. HR was just
No,
there to
definitely not.
punish us. And that's what happens
And
when you
it probably wasn't an in-house HR like that. The HR was probably like because I learned this from a friend who does HR. Like you can hire an HR company to like represent you and stuff like that. So sometimes the HR is not even like in-house people. It's like some other company that's doing it for you like that. Like I was all like, what? And yeah, it's a real thing. And we all know HR is not for you. HR is for the company to make sure they're following the laws and
Mhm.
all the new stuff going on with in California, we got like a lot of different work laws and stuff like that. So that's
Yep.
what it's dealing with. But Naughty, oh, go ahead.
No, no, no. But I look forward to going back. Like as soon as I could, I'll go and get all the tea for you guys. And like I like being there and hearing things for myself.
Right.
Um, yeah, but you
Then
got
reading it offline and trying to, yeah.
right. You got your clout chasers, and this is the thing. There's enough room for everyone in this space. It does not need to be a vicious competition. Um, and a
Right.
lot of people that I saw in person, and I'm not gonna put names to it, but I was quite frankly surprised. Like I would have thought they would have
Mm.
either been a little taller or a lot more put together. Um
A lot more showered because I know some of them were thinking. but that ain't none of my business.
It was a lot of stank, loud breath out there. AT2, let me tell you.
You said stank loud breath. Yeah.
I was the candy lady. Like, you want some mints?
Yo,
Sharing
Knotty,
is caring.
my last question for you. I was all like, if anybody needed to be at that trial, and I guess people took it that I was saying like nobody needed to be there, and I'm all like, okay, you guys are misconstruing what I'm saying. The one person that needed to be there, and I put it on my community tab, Wiley. Wiley needed to be there. I think he would have been the perfect person to do the interviews, to entertain us, give us the play-by-play and all of that. I think Wiley definitely would have killed it.
He would have killed
what are your
it.
thoughts?
No, Wiley would have fit right in. He would have fit right in. He would have fit right in.
Thank you, Mona. Yeah, he would have fit right in. Yeah.
But I had a chance when I first arrived, Hip Hop Inquirer, he interviewed with me. He's like, I know you. I was surprised at how many people knew me and was like, I watch you. And I was like, oh, okay, maybe I'm a little more relevant than I thought. People really like come for my commentary and things.
Yeah, don't ever play yourself like nobody knows you or you ain't just trust me. They know everything. Like, I'm one of the people who are not afraid to admit, like, oh, I watch different content creators or people who are smaller than me. Now that I think about it, I don't really think about too much of like who has more subscribers than me. I kind of see them and be all like, okay, they probably think they're too good. So, I literally watch people who have less than me, not because they have less, but because I'm entertained by them and they're hungry and they're not so stuck up in, you know how the game is. Like, I like people who are just real and down to earth. And for those of you who don't know, me and Knotty met each other at the meetup that Wiley put together, Wiley and Guitar Day. So yeah, we already have a rapport.
Exactly. And AT2 has always supported me from the very beginning. Like, he no holds barred. He'll drop me tips and things like that. So I always appreciate AT2 and anything he can help me with. I'm always and that's why people is mad, because I won't turn my back on AT2 because I'm really loyal. I treat people how they treat me. I treat people the same way. And how could you hate that man, the Godfather of YouTube?
How could you hate the Godfather?
Now don't be bothering them.
Mo is back. He said she's only talking about the prosecution examination and nothing about the cross. Your bias, beloved, respectfully.
I can talk about the cross. I could talk about the defense. I just really don't feel like the defense is wasting a lot of time, if you ask me. They asked the same question over and over again when Capricorn Clark was on the stand and they cross-examined her about Diddy coming to her house with at GUN point. They spent a good 15 minutes on, did he wave it at you or did he point it at you?
Right.
Like, Today was the first day I felt like they kind of got a little bit of doubt in on Mia as far as like the social media stuff. And, well, how could you be so afraid? But you're in the picture with him. That's Brian Still's spill. He's good for that. He's going to call about 50 mistrials and things like that. But I really don't feel like the defense has a lot to work with. And then Diddy is stopping a lot for the defense. Like, especially when it came to Kid Cudi, the cross-examination, Diddy told his team not to cross-examine him. Diddy also told his team not to cross-examine Cassie. You understand?
Wow, I didn't hear that.
Cassie's mother. Excuse me.
Cassie's mother. Okay, yeah. They didn't do it for Cassie's mother. And shout out to Grown Woman, happy 26 months. And then shout out to Purity, happy 5 months. Thank you, I appreciate that. But yeah, they didn't cross-examine her mama. But one thing I'll say about the defense, I think they probably did their biggest when they had cross-examined Don Richard. But other than that, it's more like the semantics, like, oh, so he waved the gun, but he didn't point the gun. And like, oh, so how come you didn't call the police? Or how come you didn't do this? It's more like the whole, well, you should have been able to fight for yourself or defend for yourself. That's more of what their defense is, because they can't excuse the things that Diddy has done. Like, it's bad, but basically their argument is to say that it's not a RICO and da 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 da. That's what their argument is. Not
And
that Diddy is not a shitty person. That's evident, right? But to say that it's not a RICO and all this other stuff. That's what their defense is basically. And so yeah, they really don't have a strong defense unless they can prove that everyone is lying.
right. Right. I mean, and a lot of people want to highlight, because they tripped up Cassie about the settlement from the Intercontinental Hotel. At the end of the day, she was on the stand for how many days, for how long? I really felt like that was a very small detail. Okay, all right. Maybe she didn't want people to know about that settlement or whatever. And they're like, oh, she's a liar. And I say she learned from the best. Okay.
That's a good one. I like that one.
She learned from the best. So if you don't hear me, like, the defense is really not impressing me. Like, they're not, they haven't really created these wow moments for me. With today with Mia, like I said, I saw where they tried to trip her up and say, oh, if he was so bad, why'd you take this picture? Or why are you wishing him a happy birthday? And at the end of the day, I refer to Stockholm syndrome. You know what I mean?
Right.
He plays a lot of mind games. Okay, he had a hold of that woman's mind, had her so afraid, like a child. Okay, she was so afraid to do anything. Oh, I didn't want to get in trouble. I didn't want to get in trouble. Like, girl, I wanted to say, girl, you grown. Like, see, Diddy, he couldn't hire me. See, me and Diddy would have been going at it. Diddy would have tried to get me locked up. Yup.
Right. Yep. He knew who to play with and who not. And Southern Belle, happy 44 months. Wow, that's a long time. Thank you, Southern Belle. And Knotty, before I'll let you go and stuff like that, because I know you're about to hit the bar and tear it up tonight. I wanted to say, what's the one thing that you want people to know about this trial? Like, what's the one thing that you feel like is a misconception or people not getting it right? You may have already answered that.
No.
About the RICO.
You know what I'm learning though, AT2, out of this trial? When it's too good to be true, take a second look. Because the situations that I heard about from my own ears in the courtroom, where they're running out of parties, hiding in bushes, Prince security, did he try to jump on Cassie? Prince security team had to get him off of her.
Yeah.
Cassie was hiding in hotels. Cassie was hiding under cars. So, like, that's why, like, and don't get me wrong, I don't believe all the civil suits that drop, but number one, look at it. Out of everyone in this movement, Diddy has the most civil lawsuits. And now I'm looking at some of the stories in the civil lawsuits, and I could believe that it could be true. But see, that's what these celebrities bank on. They create these scenarios that are too good to be true. And people aren't going to believe you at face value unless you have like tangible evidence. All right. So that's the one thing. The other thing is, I'm also seeing how they are implementing how LAPD is complicit with it.
Right. I think what I'm waiting for and what a lot of people need to see, what I'm realizing, they are waiting to see, okay, well, everybody was afraid and scared. Why were they afraid? Why didn't they call the police? I think that's going to come into play soon enough where they say he knew this person, he knew that person. Because remember in the Little Rod lawsuit, it said that there's a guy, and I forgot the name, but there's a guy that he knows where if you get in trouble, call this guy and he'll get you out of trouble or something to that effect. There's some guy there.
Because he used to work with Michael Jackson.
Oh, was it him?
He used to work with Michael Jackson. I forget his name. But
thank you, Joy.
They already are implementing that. Mia's testimony yesterday, she said Diddy was pressuring her to hurry up. She was driving, got pulled over by LAPD, and she had been working so much. She didn't even have time to like transfer her license to California. So she didn't have a valid license. And so she said, well, I work for Puff. And so the cop was like, well, how do we know that's real? So she called him. And the officer was so enamored with his celebrity, she let him go. She said another instance, Diddy made her speed in a car. They were in there together. They got pulled over. The LAPD saw it was him, and they were out there taking pictures of him and things like that. So that's just another entity of how
Thank you,
much
Steve.
how powerful he is. Okay. Also, with the arson situation, the fire arson investigator said that he submitted fingerprints to the LAPD, went back 2 days later, and they were destroyed. Now the defense was all over that, was like, objection, objection. Oh, you're trying to allude to that Mr. Combs had something to do with it. No, they weren't. They were just asking questions about what happened to the fingerprints.
Right.
So that's
Like,
3 instances so far, because I always felt like above Diddy, all the officers and everything that assisted him during this time to help them cover up and get away with things, they need to have charges brought against them too. They take an oath to protect and serve. And you mean to tell me, oh, because you a celebrity, you above the law, and you could have paid me to have my mouth shut? That's what's wrong with the world. That's what's wrong with our country today. Like, we rewarding bad behavior. And now you got Trump considering a pardon. Okay.
Right, considering a pardon, even though he hasn't been charged yet, but considering a pardon for Dick. Or convicted, I'm sorry.
I feel twofold about it, because Trump is very unpredictable, and he's also a fellow narcissist. Okay, so number one, he could relate to the diddler. I mean, this is a man that is attracted to his own daughter. So
Right.
right?
And sitting on his lap, weird.
And then Trump is very vengeful, because what he did mention in that statement is, well, we used to be really good friends back in the day, but when I started running for office,
he has since found himself in some very serious legal trouble.
Yeah, that's true.
Would you ever consider pardoning him?
Well, nobody's asked. You had to be the one to ask, Peter, but nobody's asked. But I know people are thinking about it. I know they're thinking about it. I think some people have been very close to asking. First of all, I'd look at what's happening, and I haven't been watching it too closely, although it's certainly getting a lot of coverage. I haven't seen him. I haven't spoken to him in years. He used to really like me a lot, but I think when I ran for politics, that relationship busted up. From what I read, I don't know. He didn't tell me that, but I'd read some little bit nasty statements in the paper all of a sudden. It's different. You become a much different person when you run for politics and you do what's right. I could do other things, and I'm sure he'd like me, and I'm sure other people would like me, but it wouldn't be as good for our country. As we said, our country's doing really well because of what we're doing. So it's not a popularity contest. So I don't know. I would certainly look at the facts. If I think somebody was mistreated, whether they like me or don't like me, it wouldn't have any impact on me.
Okay, anyway, I want to say something real quick. It's always weird when it be like something negative on like the Shade Room or something like that. It's all like Trump cut 50,000 jobs from the federal government, right? And people like it. I'm all like, no, I don't think you're supposed to like the negative post, you guys. But hey, beyond me. Go ahead.
It's above my head. What I noticed is he did mention the fact that Diddy was bad mouthing him.
He mentioned that. You
and
caught that too?
And I think that was his narcissistic way of saying, like, oh, heck no, I'm not granting no pardon. Okay. I played that video on my channel. It was the interview he did with Charlemagne, and he was considering starting his own political party.
But you know what the thing is?
I didn't forget.
With Trump, as long as you kiss his ass, so if there's somebody who's close to him and close to Diddy kissing his ass saying, hey, I think you should do this, do that, he'll do it.
I think he'll listen to his son, though, because above all things, remember, his son sat down with DJ Academics and talked about Kim Porter and the circumstances and the fact that
his ex-wife was afraid. But here's the thing. Do you think that his cokehead son actually really gives a damn?
No.
He
But
he
I
probably
don't think
taking
they'll
burps
allow
right
him.
now as we speak. He don't give a damn.
Yeah, Aubrey O'Day ex, okay?
Right. She said she was in love with him. See, I knew she couldn't be trusted. Damn it.
He is
I
not
already knew
credible.
it. She
Aubrey
shouldn't be
O'Day is
trusted.
not credible. She was a whole mistress, okay?
Ay, ay, ay. I swear. But anyway, Knotty, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you so much. Thank you
I
for
love it.
celebrating with me. Thank you for giving us some insight from the courtroom as well too. I think what you are doing is amazing because at the end of the day, a lot of people talk about it, but you be about it, and you was all like, "Hey, I'm gonna make sure that I go there and see it for myself." Which is great. And yes, I did drop your link as well. And Illa subscribed to you. So that's dope.
Thank you
Yeah,
so
make sure you guys
much.
subscribe to Knotty as well, too. Knotty, anything you want to say?
I love you all, and I promise you, I'm looking at the trial with an open mind, okay? And I'm looking at both sides. And at the end of the day, Diddy did it.
Right. Thank you, Knotty. I appreciate you so much. I love you. Thank
I
you.
love you all too. Turn up.
Right. I already got my drink. So yeah, I'm sipping on Crown and Pepsi, by the way.
Ooh, I'm
Y'all
gonna
don't
give me
know.
some Hennessy. I'm gonna give me some.
Oh yeah, I know you love your Hennessy. So. All right, Knotty, you have a good one.
Have a good evening, everyone.
Oh man, I love Knotty. Knotty is dope as hell, and I'm glad that for those of you who don't know who she was, y'all got introduced to her. So y'all, as this is the 5-year anniversary, I want to go ahead and talk about how I didn't think I would be doing this shit, honestly, to tell you the truth. I thought, if anything, I would go back to work when the country opened back up. I didn't end up going back to work. I ended up doing this full time. Well, hold on. I take that back. I did work at the port. I had a job at the port. I was all like, oh my God, this is like that career job that you always want, working at the port. Well, hell, that's when the ships couldn't even come in the dock. So at the end of the day, I couldn't, there was nothing, there was no work. So literally, I got laid off again after 3 weeks, and I was just all like, well, shit, what do I do now? I was all like, I guess I'll make this a full-time thing and really go hard. I want to apologize to people if they ever felt, and this is people in my personal life, if they ever felt like I didn't care or I wasn't trying to look out for them or I cut them off or I became distant. No, it wasn't that I wanted to become distant or anything like that. I was broke. I couldn't fly out to weddings. I couldn't go to certain events. I couldn't do anything because I didn't have the money to do that at the time. I didn't start really making money from YouTube, which a lot of people don't share. I didn't really start making money until the 3rd year. Beforehand, I was making like $200, $300 a month off of YouTube. $200, $300 a month. Now, how many of y'all can survive off of $200, $300 a month? 0, right? Not one person said yes. 0. So when I was looking like, okay, well, shit, what the hell am I going to do? Okay, well, let me try to really study, really own what I'm doing, really trying to make those connections and network and see, shit. Let me try to at least put myself out there and see if I can make something stick. That's literally what I did. And I think what also helped me that I was hungry. So because I was hungry, and I mean, well, I'm fat, not physically hungry, but hungry for success. That also helped me too. Because if I had went back to work, y'all wouldn't see me right now. I've been trying to do YouTube for the longest time, and yeah, I've been trying to do it for a while, and ain't nothing came from it. But when I had the chance to actually be at home, that's what really made the difference. And what also makes the difference is that I had cool people around this whole time, starting out. rest in peace to Real, aka Lefty. There were so many different content creators, and this next one coming up really, really had my back throughout it all. And I just want to say I love her so much. She is my cousin, and returning back to YouTube. So you motherfuckers get ready, because I know y'all some scary ass bitches. Get motherfucking ready for Cuts of Conversation.
Hey, cousin.
I'm so happy you're back.
I'm happy to be back. Can you hear me?
Oh yeah, you sound good.
Okay. How are you? Congratulations.
How are you?
I'm doing fine.
And thank you for the congratulations. And also congratulations to you, because your real life, because these people don't touch grass, your real life has been amazing, correct?
Yes, it has. Amen.
Put it closer to the camera. Let them see it.
I don't want them all up in my business, but you know.
So during this time off, like, have you kind of been seeing what's going on, or have you just kind of really been keeping your peace and like?
I'm a little half and half.